Hey, Ink, you should do Little Mac vs. Min Min. They're both Nintendo boxers, so it's perfect.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
It's a super easy win for Mac, too. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah. Woo.
Son of a... Who would win? A question asked since the dawn of storytelling. Versus debating is a highly popular pastime here on YouTube. And on April 27th, 2021, a YouTuber by the name of Ink Thinks tosses Cap in the ring, premiering a Smash Bros. Themed take by the name of Smash Bracket. I've enjoyed other Versus shows as a casual fan, but with my past friendship with Mr. Thinks and a solid understanding of this new rule set, Smash Bracket became my favorite Versus show. Recently, however, I've felt some glaring omissions from the show, and it really came to a head with the most recent episode, Little Mac vs. Min Min. Before I continue with the issues I have with the episode, I think it's important to showcase where my bias may lie. I'm 100% Team Mac, baby! Woo! Let's go! I've been a Punch-Out fan for ages, and mained Little Mac in Smash since 2017, as hard as that's been. While I don't absolutely despise the ARMS series, I do despise Min Min's inclusion in Smash. Separate video on that coming later. When I heard this episode was next, I even did my own research on both characters, with knowledge of the rule set from being on the research team in the past, as well as keeping up with the show in general. And I came to the conclusion Little Mac wins. That is where the episode proper begins. Now, with what's presented in the episode, it would make sense to have Min Min be the victor. She just needs to land one blow, while Mac needs 770 consistent hits. But there's several flaws in the way that they got to that conclusion, and that's where I come in. In all honesty, their section on Little Mac is airtight. A lot of people in the comments as well as the Discord asks, what about Gigamac? But, as brought up by team member Some Guy, Gigamac doesn't exactly have any feats that differentiate him from regular Mac. So, under bracket, it makes sense not to bring it up for sake of time. My one issue with the Little Mac section is Super Mode. It's calced to be roughly 6 miles per hour, but Super Mode is clearly intended as a speed and strength multiplier. A 5 times multiplier at that, which ends up the same as Rush Mode. That's my sole issue with the Little Mac analysis. Frankly, in all of bracket, Little Mac's analysis is my personal favorite. But what came next is why this video is being made. Min Min, the ramen bomber and bane of my existence. Not really. But really, Min Min is the biggest issue with this episode by far. Not only for stats, but also in the fight itself.
It's ramen time.
She doesn't even speak English! But back to what you're here for. Min Min and Bracket either got way too much leeway, or have the math completely wrong. But we can't know because outside her strength and durability, we don't get any sort of sources. The whole episode is the "dude, trust me" meme. To start things off, where does her speed come from? We're given the number 14 miles per hour, but where did that come from? The only way you can get a speed for Min Min under the rule set Bracket has set out, as far as I can tell, is distance over time, which gets her roughly 11.93 miles per hour. And with Rush Mode, which only boosts speed for certain arms, mind you, we're given 70 miles per hour, which I can only guess comes from multiplying that 14 miles per hour by 5, given in the same time frame you can normally punch once, you can punch 5 times with Rush Mode. Which again brings back into question why Super Mode wasn't treated as a multiplier for Little Mac, despite both requiring meters and both enhancing the character speeds by the exact same amount, but no! That's giving Little Mac too much! Yeah, Min Min's speed got me a little heated. But that's not the most glaring issue with the episode. No. That'd be this.
Enough to shatter this huge slab of concrete in just one hit.
Please let this be a scripting error. Please let this be a scripting error. Please let this be a scripting error. God damn it! So, this is absolutely the largest flaw in the episode, and it zooms by so quickly despite it being the whole reason they claim Min Min wins. So, to keep things aligned with the rest of the video, Smash Bracket doesn't give evidence. They flash the number on screen, but don't go over the process of getting to that point. I'm sure their math is sound, but this makes the audience mistrust those numbers inherently. But while I can trust their calculations, with the assumption Min Min can smash the stone slab with a punch. But she literally can't do that. I tested for an hour trying to replicate this with multiple character positions, arm angles, and arms in general. The only way to break these stone slabs is to launch the opponent into said slabs, which drastically changes the numbers you get. Bracket uses joules per centimeter squared to compare characters, so to get that, we simply use this equation. So, plugging in our numbers, the volume of the stone slab is 6.37 meters cubed, the joule requirement is at best 20 joules, which, seeing as it's made of concrete and is already pretty cracked, seems a more than fair estimate. The time frame is about 0.28 seconds, and using the surface area of the smallest fighter, which happens to be Min Min, to maximize her AP, the attack's area comes out to about 1.83 meters squared, resulting in a whopping 248.6 joules. For context, this would make max consistent 770 punches needed to a single punch, and make Min Min need 19 punches to KO Mac, ignoring his ability to heal between rounds, knockdowns, and his first punch of every combo. This alone should make it clear Mac can take the fight, but even with that, I still say, with the numbers given in the episode, Little Mac should have won. Quickly getting Ink's first point out of the way, in boxing there are three main styles. Swarmer, a style that prioritizes speed and overwhelms the opponent. Outboxer, a style that prioritizes long reach and keeping your opponents out. And Brawler. Little Mac is a brawler style of boxer. He specializes in evasion against long-range opponents, landing strong blows whenever openings present themselves. In traditional boxing, while it isn't impossible for the outboxer to win, traditionally the brawler is the far more likely pick. Mac very commonly fights opponents twice his size, and even a dude with a 6-foot flail. While there isn't anyone in Punch-Out with a 35-foot reach, Mac has literally trained to minimize this exact weakness. And speaking of weaknesses, it's time to talk about the biggest weakness, Min Min's arms. When an arms fighter is hit in the arm either once by a strong force or twice by a weak force, the fighter's arms become limp and unwieldy. Due to the large weight, this also causes the fighters to be rendered near immobile, with Min Min not even being able to use her signature kicks or rush mode. This is why no matter the strength or durability advantage, Min Min will always lose this fight, so long as Mac starts with the speed advantage. Mac is a master at picking up on his opponent's weakness and capitalizing on it. Even when Don Flamenco, who has a very similar weakness, attempted to fix his own flaw, Mac simply adapted and figured out a new way to keep him locked up. While the numbers bracket presented Min Min only needs to land one hit, sure, but so does Little Mac. And my money will always be put on the WVBA champion, Little Mac. Speaking of money, did you know there's a Punch-Out spin-off in the arcades called Arm Wrestling? And if Bracket included that, Little Mac's best feat of strength would actually be tossing up this money bag. Yet another thing Bracket left out of the episode. But if you want me to cover this super obscure piece of Nintendo history, just leave a comment and I'll be happy to oblige. Until next time.